Let's begin. I never thought my marriage would end with my wife standing in our home, introducing another man as if he belonged there. But that's exactly how it happened. For 10 years, I believed I was a good husband, flawed sure, but faithful. I worked hard, provided for my family, and never strayed. But in the end, none of it mattered. Because while I was busy building a future for us, she was busy building something else with him. It started with small changes. Late nights, a sudden obsession with her phone, the way she avoided my touch, like my hands had gone cold. I ignored the signs, brushed them off as stress or exhaustion. I was a fool. And then, one night, she asked me to sit down. Her fingers trembled slightly as she poured 2 glasses of wine, her eyes flickering toward the hallway. And then, he stepped out, calm, casual, like he had every right to be there. "This is Nathan," she said, forcing a nervous smile. "He's going to be living with us." I blinked, my brain refusing to process the words. "I want you to share me with him." For a moment, there was only silence. A thick, suffocating quiet that filled the space between us. I felt nothing. Not rage. Not pain. Just emptiness. My hands curled into fists beneath the table. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. And then I stood. Without a word, I turned and walked to our bedroom. My fingers wrapped around the cold steel of my gun as I opened the nightstand drawer. When I came back, she went pale. "What are you doing?" she whispered. Nathan shifted in his seat, his hand inching towards something under the table. A knife? A gun? I didn't know. And I didn't care. I leveled my pistol at his head. And that was when the nightmare truly began. Claire and I met in college. She was the kind of woman who could make a man forget his own name. Sharp-witted, effortlessly beautiful. The kind of person who walked into a room and made it hers. I wasn't special. Just a guy who worked hard and made her laugh. Maybe that was enough back then. We built a life together. A home. A family. We had a daughter, Lily, 5 years old, with Claire's green eyes and my stubbornness. I worked my ass off to give them everything. Long hours. Late nights. Every sacrifice I made was for them. And now, here I was, standing in my own house, looking at the woman who once promised me forever, while she clutched another man's arm. Nathan was younger. Cocky. Smug. He didn't even look afraid. Claire stepped in front of him. "Put it down," she said, voice shaking. "You're overreacting." I laughed. A cold, empty sound. Overreacting. My voice was hollow, unfamiliar. "You bring another man into our home and tell me to just accept it." She swallowed hard. "I didn't want to do this behind your back. I wanted to be honest." "Honest?" I let out a humorless chuckle. "Honest would have been telling me before you F*** at him." Nathan tensed. "Hey man, let's..." I turned the gun on him. "Shut the hell up." Claire started crying. "I love you. I still love you. But I love him too." My grip tightened on the gun. "You don't get to do this to me." "I'm not ripping anything apart," she insisted. "Nathan and I talked, and we think this could work." My vision went red. "You and Nathan talked? And where the hell was I in this conversation?" She flinched. "I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you." "Scared of what?" My voice cracked. "That I'd say no. That I'd remind you you're my wife." She wiped her tears, straightening. "I'm not just your wife, Lucas. I'm a person. I have needs." Something in my chest snapped. Nathan took a step forward. "Look, man, maybe you should." And then, a small voice from the hallway. "Daddy." Lily stood there, clutching her stuffed bunny. I froze. Claire gasped. "Sweetheart, go back to bed." Lily ignored her and ran to me, wrapping her arms around my leg. "Why are you mad, Daddy?" I knelt down, setting the gun on the table, and pulled her close. Claire touched my shoulder. "Lucas, please." I pushed her hand away. My voice was cold. "Get him out of my house." Claire hesitated. Then, she looked at Nathan, and she took his hand. "I think you should leave," she whispered. Nathan smirked. I stared at them. The woman I once loved, the man who thought he had won. And in that moment, something inside me shattered. But another part of me, another part started a plan. I didn't leave that night. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Claire and Nathan were inside, probably in my bed. The thought made me sick. I could hear Lily's soft cries through the bedroom window. That was the only thing that stopped me from going back inside and doing something I couldn't take back. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I barely moved for hours. I just sat there in the dark, replaying everything. Why? What the F asterisk 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 had I done to deserve this? The next day, Claire met me at a cafe. The same place we used to go for breakfast on Sundays. She looked calm. Annoyingly calm. I didn't want to hurt you, she said, stirring her coffee. But I knew you'd never understand. Understand what? My voice was like ice. She sighed. That I was suffocating. That I needed more. I clenched my jaw. So you went and found some boy instead of talking to me. She rolled her eyes. Nathan isn't just some guy. He understands me. I laughed. A hollow, humorless sound. Yeah? And what exactly does he understand that I don't? She hesitated. Then, finally she met my gaze. You stopped looking at me like you wanted me, Lucas. You became predictable. Safe. Boring. Something inside me cracked wide open. Boring, I repeated, voice dangerously low. I worked day and night to give you a good life. I gave you a home, a daughter, everything, and I was the boring one. She sighed again, as if I was exhausting her. Yes, she said simply, like it was my fault, like I had driven her into another man's bed. And then, she said something that made my blood run cold. Nathan wants to adopt Lily. I froze. Over my dead body. She smirked. You left, Lucas. You abandoned us. I leaned forward, my voice deadly quiet. You think I'm just going to sit back and let you take my daughter? Claire smirked. I think you don't have a choice. I forced a smile. You win. She blinked, surprised. But she didn't know. She didn't know the storm that was coming. Because if she thought I was predictable before, she was about to see exactly what happens when you push a man too far. I played the role of the broken man perfectly. For the next 2 weeks, I did exactly what Claire expected of me. I acted devastated, apologetic, weak. I let her see me sleeping in my car. I let her see the exhaustion in my face. I stopped fighting for the house. Stopped fighting for her. And most importantly, I stopped fighting for Lily. At least, that's what I let Claire believe. The truth? I was planning something so cold, so calculated, she wouldn't see it coming until it was too late. Claire thought she had me figured out. She thought I was predictable. She thought I was weak. She was about to learn what happens when you push a man too far. I started with the money. Claire had no idea that over the years, I had been quietly moving assets, setting up accounts in different names. Call it paranoia, call it foresight, but I never fully trusted anyone with my hard-earned cash. Not even my wife. One night, while she was curled up in bed with her new lover, I drained our joint account. Every last cent. The next morning, Claire called me in a panic. Lucas, the bank just called. Our account is empty. Her voice was sharp, accusatory. Did you do something? I rubbed my temples, forcing a tired sigh. Oh yeah, I said flatly. I needed to get back on my feet. You took everything, she hissed. Well, technically, it was my paycheck that filled that account, wasn't it? Silence. Then, you selfish bastard. I almost laughed. Selfish. This coming from the woman who had another man in my house. You'll be fine, I said smoothly. You have Nathan now, don't you? I hung up before she could reply. Step 1, complete. Nathan was next. I did my homework on him. He wasn't just some guy Claire had fallen for. He was a parasite. No real job. No savings. Just a gym membership. And an Instagram full of shirtless pictures. And a record. A violent record. I paid a visit to an old friend, Detective Marcus Langley. We weren't exactly close, but I had helped him out a tough spot once, and he owed me. Josh Carter, I told him. I need to know everything. Langley raised an eyebrow, but didn't ask questions. A few hours later, he handed me a folder. Arrested 3 times. Aggravated assault. Bar fights. Road rage incidents. An ex-girlfriend who had pressed charges, until she mysteriously dropped them. That was all I needed. That night, I sent Claire an anonymous email. Photos of Nathan's arrest records. A simple message. This is the man raising your daughter. It didn't take long for the explosion to happen. Claire called me at midnight, her voice frantic. You son of a b asterisk 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 asterisk, she hissed. You're trying to ruin my life. Me? I said innocently. No, Claire. I'm just making sure you know exactly who you're sleeping next to. Nathan wouldn't. He's not like that anymore. I chuckled. Oh, tell that to the girl who needed stitches after he put her through a wall. Silence. I knew what was happening. She was second-guessing, wondering if she had made the biggest mistake of her life. Good. Step 2, complete. I had already decided. Lily wasn't staying with Claire. Not with that man in the house. So I made my move. One night, when Claire was out, I picked up Lily from school. We went for ice cream. Her little legs swung excitedly as she ate her cone. "Daddy," she said between bites, "do I have to live with Mommy?" I clenched my jaw. "Do you want to live with Mommy?" She hesitated, looked down at her ice cream. "I miss you." I kissed her forehead. "I miss you too, baby." The next morning, Claire woke up to an empty house. Lily was gone. I had taken her. Not for the weekend. Not for a visit. Forever. Claire went insane. She filed police reports. Screamed to anyone who would listen that I had kidnapped our daughter. But I had planned everything. The custody battle was already stacking against her. My lawyers were ruthless. They dug up her infidelity, her reckless decisions, the way she had brought a violent man into Lily's life. And the courts? They don't take kindly to mothers who put their child at risk. I won. Full custody. Claire was granted supervised visitation, but she never showed up because she was too busy trying to survive her own personal hell. Once the money was gone, once the house was empty, once the reality of her choices finally hit her, Nathan changed. He wasn't the charming, exciting guy anymore. He was angry, resentful. Claire had expected a love story. Instead, she got a man with a short fuse and nowhere to direct his rage except at her. She called me one last time. Her voice was shaking. "Lucas." I said nothing. He hit me. I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. "Of course he did. I don't know what to do," she whispered. "I'm scared." I leaned back in my chair, staring out the window at the peaceful neighborhood I had moved Lily to. Safe. Far away. "You made your choice, Claire." My voice was calm. "Empty. Now live with it." Silence. Then, a choked sob. And she hung up. I never heard from her again. After I took Lily, Claire lost what little control she had left over her life. The morning she woke up to an empty house must have been the worst moment of her life, at least at that point. I could imagine her frantic steps, rushing through the house, calling Lily's name with a voice that cracked under sheer panic. She must have checked the backyard, the closets, the bathroom, every room she could think of. But Lily wasn't there, because Lily was never coming back. When the realization hit her, I knew what she must have done next. She must have called me, and she did. The phone buzzed in my hand as I sat on the patio of my new house, far away from her. I didn't answer. It rang again, and again, voicemail after voicemail. I finally played them, one by one, as I sipped my morning coffee. First came the desperation. "Lucas, please, where is she? Where's Lily? You can't do this. You can't just take her away from me." Then came the rage. "You cowardly piece of sh*T. You think you can steal my daughter? I'll get the police involved. Lucas, you'll regret this. I swear to God, you'll regret this." And finally, the breakdown. The last voicemail was nearly incoherent sobbing. "Lucas, please. I can't do this. I can't. I need her. I need my baby. And then, silence. I set my coffee down, smiling. She was breaking. And this was just the beginning. Claire wasn't stupid. Broken, yes. But she still had some fight left in her. She went to the police. Filed a report. But I had planned for that. I had already filed for custody weeks ago. Claire had no legal ground. By the time she even realized what had happened, my lawyers had already proven she was an unfit mother. Her infidelity, her reckless decisions, the way she had brought a violent man into her daughter's life. The court didn't like that. Not one bit. By the time the case went to a judge, Claire didn't stand a chance. The ruling? Full custody to me. She was granted visitation rights, but only under supervision. And that's when she made her next mistake. She didn't show up for her first supervised visit, then the second, then the third. At first, I thought she was too ashamed, too humiliated. But then I realized the truth. She wasn't coming because she couldn't afford the trip. She had lost everything. She had no money, no home, and soon, she wouldn't even have Nathan. Nathan was never in love with Claire. Not really. He was in love with what she provided for him. The house, the money, the comfort, the lifestyle. But with me gone, and my bank account drained, Claire was left struggling. I heard through mutual friends that she had downgraded to a small apartment on the other side of town. No more fancy furniture. No more shopping sprees. Just a cheap, cramped space that wasn't even big enough for Lily. That's when the fight started. Nathan didn't like struggling. He didn't like going to bed hungry. He didn't like living in a small, crappy apartment. And Claire, She was no longer the exciting, fun-loving woman he had stolen from me. She was now a stressed, desperate mess. I imagine it started small. Little fights, passive-aggressive remarks, a slammed door here, a raised voice there. But then, one night, Nathan snapped, and he hit her. The call came unexpectedly. It was past midnight. I almost didn't answer, but something inside me wanted to hear her voice. I picked up, and there she was. Her breathing was shaky, her voice weak. "Lucas." I didn't say anything. Then a whisper. "He hit me." I closed my eyes, inhaling slowly. "Of course, he did." "I don't know what to do," she said, voice trembling. "I'm scared." I leaned back in my chair, staring out at the quiet street outside my new home. She sounded so different now. So helpless. It was a far cry from the cold, arrogant woman who once told me I was boring. I let the silence hang between us before I finally spoke. "You made your choice, Claire." I kept my voice calm. "Empty. Now live with it." I could hear her breath hitch. A choked sob. "Lucas, please." I hung up. I never heard from her again. Claire disappeared after that. I didn't know where she went, and I didn't care. Last I heard, she moved 3 states away. She took a dead-end job, a small, run-down apartment in a part of town where dreams go to die. And Nathan, he didn't stick around. He found someone else, younger, easier to control, and he left Claire in the dirt the moment she had nothing left to offer. She had thrown away her marriage, her stability, her family, for nothing. For me, life moved on. I built something better, something stronger. Lily thrived in her new life. She didn't even remember Claire. Maybe that was for the best. I met someone new, someone who understood what real love meant, someone who didn't betray me, someone who didn't trade me in for something temporary and worthless. And Claire, she got exactly what she wanted. She wanted excitement. She wanted freedom. She wanted a life without me. And I made sure she got every last bit of it. The world had moved on from Claire. She had once been a woman who believed she had everything. A stable marriage, a daughter who adored her, a husband who gave his blood, sweat, and soul to keep her happy. And she threw it all away. For Nathan. For a fantasy that collapsed faster than she could comprehend. But now, she was just another forgotten woman. Her name meant nothing anymore. I kept tabs on her, but not because I missed her. God, no. I just wanted to see how far she would fall. And Claire, she fell hard. She had no money, no home, no support. Her reputation was in shambles. No one wanted to hire her. No one wanted to help her. Even a friend she had bragged to when she started sleeping with Nathan, they were gone, abandoning her just like Nathan did. I heard she was waitressing now, a minimum wage job, serving tables at a dingy bar in some rundown town. And every day, she woke up to nothing. No love, no family, just the memories of a life she destroyed. I imagine what her life looked like now. She would wake up alone in that dingy, cramped apartment, the walls peeling, the ceiling leaking. She would go to work at the bar, dealing with drunks, wiping tables, getting yelled at for things that didn't matter. And at night, she would go home, to an empty bed, to nothing. And that's when the thoughts must have crept in, the realization, the regret. She had given up everything for something worthless. She had chosen Nathan, and Nathan had left her with nothing but bruises and scars. Did she stare at the ceiling at night, wondering where it all went wrong? Did she ever think about the home she lost, the husband who once loved her unconditionally, the daughter she abandoned for a man who saw her as nothing but temporary entertainment? Did she cry herself to sleep? Did she ever wish she had chosen differently? It didn't matter, because wishing wouldn't change a damn thing. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. My life thrived in a way I never thought possible. I had built something better, something real. I had moved on. Lily was happy, growing up in a home where she was truly loved and protected. She no longer asked about her mother, and I no longer wasted a single thought on Claire. She had become nothing more than a ghost of a mistake, one that I would never make again. But here's the funny thing about karma. It doesn't just balance things. It crushes those who deserve it. And Claire, she deserved every second of suffering she endured. She was broken, and alone. Meanwhile, I was successful, happy, and at peace. And in the end, I didn't just win the revenge game. I won life itself. Claire, she was just a forgotten chapter of my story. Nothing more.